Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the September Business Series presented by PNC. I am Katie Mahoney. I'm the Vice President of Marketing with the York County Economic Alliance and Downtown Inc. And usually the wonderful Elaine Bonneau hosts these, but she's taking a well-deserved vacation today. So I am your host for today, and we are going to be talking about preparing for the holiday season in the age of COVID. It might seem a little preemptive to be thinking holidays already, but we've got some fall weather out there, and I think the season is upon us. So we'd like to thank our sponsors, first and foremost, PNC Bank and York College, the Center for Community Engagement, which is where we usually hold these when we are in person. And we look forward to doing that one day with you again in what is hopefully not the too distant future. So this month, again, talking about the holidays, make sure that you check back at the downtownyorkpa.com website for more future business series workshops. The next one coming up in October 21st. And as always, we had a slate prepared for the year. We know this year's been crazy. So if there is something that you would like to hear more about, or a question, a concern, a topic, let us know. We're really going month to month so that we can stay adaptive and really meet the needs of the business community here in downtown York. So today's webinar will be recorded and it'll be sent out to all of you. So if you miss anything, if you see something in the slideshow that you're scrambling to write down, don't stress. We'll be sending everything right to you that you can review. And if you have any questions as we go along today, please submit those into the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen here. We're going to hear from both presenters today, and then we will take some Q&A at the end. So if you put in a question, just know we're catching it and we're going to address everything together at the end. And if you want to share this out with anyone, if you think there's amazing information in it, we hope that you do. This will also be on the Downtown York YouTube and the Business Series workshop webpage on our website, again, downtownyorkpa.com. So we have two wonderful, incredible speakers that are joining us bright and early today on this chilly Wednesday morning as we prepare for fall. So we have Rick Moran and Allison Witherow with us. Rick serves as the marketing director for the PA Chamber of Business and Industry. And in this capacity, he's charged with providing marketing leadership and strategic planning for both the PA Chamber and PA Chamber Insurance. So Rick's background specializes in digital marketing and branding strategies with over a decade of experience talking email campaigns, social media, search engine optimization, paid digital advertising. And we have certainly learned in this crazy age of COVID that those digital things are really what can make a big difference with consumers and for business success in this day and age. So we were going to hear from Rick first up, and then following Rick, who is going to kind of provide that larger picture, we're going to hear what it's really like right here in downtown York and in York County. And Allison Witherow, who is the Chief Marketing Officer of One Hospitality Group, and also the co-owner of the Cantina York and Avianos. We're going to hear from Allison, who is born and raised in York, PA. She went on to pursue a career in photography at New York University. And in 2008, she co-founded the Susquehanna Photographic, a photography company that has deep roots in the community, through things like the I Love York City movement, the what is now called the What the Food Trucks event, and so much more. So Allison has a wealth of knowledge and experience of the downtown York community, of all of the wonderful things that are here and all of the challenges that are here. And truly, One Hospitality has done a phenomenal job at adapting in the local markets in this age of COVID. So we're going to hear more from Allison. She has also worked at Rural Square Developments, helping to revitalize York City, and says, she couldn't deny her love of food. And, I'm right there with you, especially if you're getting involved in things like Totoni's and Avianos, and my goodness, who wouldn't love that? So in 2016, she founded the Taste Test restaurant, which is an incubator with Tony Calderone. And now the two of them are owning the Cantina and Aviano's and just growing the restaurants in York County, in New York City, and certainly even beyond that. And she's now the Chief Marketing Officer of One Hospitality. So again, a huge wealth of knowledge, two very different perspectives that we're hoping are going to give you a really well-rounded view of what it looks like going into the holiday season in this crazy year. So with that, first up we have Rick, and I'm going to turn it over to him at this time.
Thanks, Katie. Pull up my presentation here. Hopefully y'all can see that. All right. Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me. It's really exciting to have the opportunity to speak to everyone this morning and just sort of share our perspective, the perspective we have at the State Chamber as to where things are going, recap a little bit where things have been, and talk about some trends that are here to stay, and hopefully some things that will help you through the holiday season. A little bit about my background. She just went through it a little bit, but I'm the Director of Marketing for the Pennsylvania Chamber. We've got nearly 10,000 member businesses, from your sole proprietors up to your Fortune 100 companies. And we are constantly trying to advocate for those businesses, make sure people have jobs, and obviously improve the economy as a whole. My background's in digital marketing, search engine optimization, pay-per-click ads, all sorts of digital ads, social media, and email. That's certainly where I've spent most of my career. Prior to that, I was in sports marketing. I did an internship with the Buffalo Sabres in the NHL. I started working in youth sports facilities. I've got a lot of live event experience. And the only reason I'm mentioning this is because I see the marketing from both sides, the business to business, the business to consumer. And obviously a lot of people are struggling with the live events industry. And, a lot of our members are going through some of the same growing pains. But I think for those of us that are willing to take on the challenge and be creative, there are certainly some opportunities to be successful this holiday season. And that's some of the stuff I will go through in this presentation. I really want to mention bringing PA back. That's one of our initiatives here at the PA Chamber. Don't worry, I'm not going to read that whole paragraph. Basically, it's we've created a website. You see on the last bullet there, bringpaback.com. I would encourage you to go check it out. It's just got a lot of good resources for businesses at this time, and whether it's masks, finding personal protective equipment, or just trying to stay up to date on what the latest things going on at the Capitol are. It'll really help you through this holiday season. Through this Bringing PA Back initiative, we have hosted over a dozen free COVID-19 related webinars. A lot of them were March, April, May, June, but we've continued to do some of them. And that was as things were changing. We wanted to make sure the business community was well informed. And those weren't for our members. Some of them were, but a lot of them were open to the public. And I can tell you, we went from used to have 25 to 50 people on a webinar to over 2,000. I have a bullet there. We set SEO records. So as a self-proclaimed numbers nerd who's constantly looking at analytics and trying to see what we can do, I'm getting all these alerts that that we're getting all these website visits, and I'll talk about paid ads in a minute, but I didn't have any paid ads running, and I was wondering where it was all coming from. People were searching for us, and Google was ranking us really, really high. And I'm not saying that to brag, because I would do that, but just to show you that people were turning to us for, to save their businesses. And we were happy to help out as best we could during these uncertain times. And when I talk about some of these marketing trends, I'm going to reference, again, some of my experience, but a lot of what I heard during those times and what we're continuing to hear as we get all those businesses talking to us. So what changed? Well, obviously a ton of things changed. And I narrowed it down to these two as far as it pertains to marketing. Customer habits changed. Your customers, you lucky business people, are smarter, lazier, safety conscious, and extremely reluctant to spend their money. So good luck. And obviously how we do business. And I put a 2020 shift to digital. And when you see that, you might think, Rick, you're 20 25 years late on that. We've gone digital a long time ago. No, we're seeing a second wave of people going digital. So you might think that everyone had gone digital. That was not the case, but it is now. And if you haven't done it yet, I'd encourage you to look at some new avenues, and I'll go over some of that here in the presentation. All right, so let's talk about the customers first. I said lazier, but that's probably not the right term. They're just, we're just more accustomed to things like home delivery, curbside pickup, personalization of our orders, what we want. Kind of gone are the days of just, putting your name out there and the customer comes to you. I mean, you really need to meet the customer where they want to buy things. And I know we've got a lot of different kinds of companies on here, so I'll leave it sort of generic there depending on what your industry is. But yeah, you need to figure out, where your customer wants to buy your product and meet them there. Tighter wallets. This is no surprise when you have an uncertain economy. People are less willing to spend. When you're seeing unemployment go up, people are less willing to spend. And even though we've seen, a little bit of a bounce back, and hopefully things continue to trend in a good direction, there's still a lot of people out there that got a stimulus and haven't spent it yet, wisely, but also not great for the economy. But I would imagine that this holiday season, you're going to see some of those folks be looking to spend, and they're going to be looking for brands they can trust. And I'll talk about that in a little while. I said they were smarter, and I do believe that. I do believe they can detect whether you're being authentic or not. There's gimmicks in the marketing world don't work as much as they used to, and you're going to see more and more of them. Again, as more people invade the digital marketing space, customers are going to be hit with so much noise that they're not going to process much of it. So, we found that just being authentic, being direct is the best way to reach people. I'll give a quick example. For our email marketing campaigns, we keep track of everything as far as how many opens, clicks, and whatnot. And we found when we come up with a really cute, fun subject line, it has far fewer opens than when we just do the boring tell them what it is subject line. So if we have a human resources conference coming up, when I use the topics and the speakers' names, it's a punctuation in the subject line, it only gets 10% opens. When I just put the words 2020 Human Resources Conference, it doubles. People are kind of sick and tired of seeing the gimmicks all the time. They just want, tell me what it is and I'll open it. Also, we're seeing your customers, there's been a rediscovery renaissance, I'm calling it. They've been stuck in their houses, and even as we start to open up, some of these trends will continue. People will look back on this time and realize that, there's some things they really liked about being quarantined and things they've rediscovered. So, it's just some examples here. Cooking, obviously the home office, I don't think that's going away anytime soon. We've heard from our members, a lot of them realize this telecommuting thing is working out pretty well, and they're going to keep doing it even after this is all done. And then just other examples: gardening, home exercise, home decor and improvement. These industries, if you're lucky enough to be in any of these industries, good for you, because people are now starting to pay more attention to their homes because they're spending more time in their homes. All right, the shift to digital. Yeah, the thought that everyone's digital is just not true. I can tell you, or it wasn't true. I can tell you that our members, even as we're trying to interact with them online, and we look at all their websites and we look at their social media pages, we found over the years many big companies either still don't have a website, or their website isn't up to date, or they are not on social media. They're not at all concerned about their website visits or their Google search results. Well, that all changed rapidly in the last few months, and now everybody has shifted to digital. And if you haven't, no time like the present. But the problem for people like me that used to exploit that a little bit to get better ad prices, now there's more competition, so prices are increased. For those of you that don't know how some of this paid digital works, basically is you put an ad out there, you set how much you want to spend, and I'm generalizing greatly here, but and then each platform, Google, Facebook, whatever it is, has a behind the scenes algorithm that'll see how many people are trying to reach that exact same audience, and whoever the highest bidder is, they will charge your account that amount. You can set limits, but we usually just set a certain amount we want to spend. And I've got it kind of laid out down there, for at least for paid social, in general, the lowest to the highest priced ads out there. So Facebook and Instagram, certainly the cheapest, but the least targeted. Twitter can be much more targeted. You can target certain followers of certain accounts or the demographics of people that follow certain accounts. LinkedIn gets extremely granular. So for a business like ours, where we're business to business, we can target specific job titles. It's fantastic, but you're going to pay a premium for that. Pre-COVID, I was paying for a lot of our ads, anywhere on Facebook from 5 cents to 50 cents each time somebody clicked. On Twitter, we were paying, again, depending on a lot of variables, $1 to $5 per click. But again, it's more targeted, so that's why you pay a higher price. On LinkedIn, we were paying $5 to $10 a click, which sounds crazy, but it was worth it for some products because you were really drilling down to your exact audience. So we saw good returns. I can tell you all of those prices for me just the last month, 2 months have doubled. So unfortunately, that's going to have shift our priorities. So whereas there weren't as many people in that space before, and we could use that to our advantage, we got to find out where the soft spots are now, and our member companies need to find out where the soft spots are, where you can make sure you get noticed. So I'm just going to go through some marketing strategies that hopefully give you some inspiration for the holiday season and beyond. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you're building brand value. Right now, I've seen that a lot of customers are unsure who they can trust. And that second bullet there, I've got build trust, be the life raft. Like, you want those new customers. You want to show them that your brand has value and your brand can be trusted. When I say connect with both current customers and new customers, it's amazing how many people during this time only focused on one or the other. As business started to go down, they were so concerned about getting new customers, they forgot about the ones they already had. Or other people were so worried about just keeping who they had, they didn't try to find a new innovative way to find new customers. You have to do both. So make sure your marketing strategy includes both. Again, I put in all caps there, be authentic. They can tell what's real and what's fake. I always think of a long time ago, some genius came up with buy one, get one free. Everybody loved it. Like, who doesn't want to get something free? But essentially all they were doing was giving you something at 50% off. It was a better way to say it. That way you would buy 2 of it instead of 1. But over the years, that strategy changed. All of a sudden you start seeing people tweak with it, saying, now it's not buy one, get one, it's buy one, get one half off. Or you saw sales that were up to 75% off. Don't you hate that one? I hate that one. If something's 5% off, that's technically up to 75% off. But consumers are being hit with this all day long. They've gotten smarter. Instead of worrying about how big of a discount you should give, maybe you should just give more value. What can you throw in instead of slashing prices? I think people will appreciate that and know that they're getting good value for whatever it is you're charging. Another good way to build brand value is to get good reviews. Don't be afraid to ask. We've done this. It's a strategy I highly recommend. If you've got a good email list you use and you have customers that are satisfied, ask them, to throw a good review for you up on Google or Facebook or Yelp, wherever it is, and send them the links. Make it super easy for them to do it. And that's going to help you in so many ways, whether people are looking up your business before they choose to buy, but also your search engine results. Those Google and Yahoo and Bing, they're looking to see that you're getting good reviews so that when somebody searches for your product, they're going to bump you up a little bit. And maybe you're thinking, I've got 3 or 4 good reviews, and that's a good start, but try for 10, try for 20. It's going to help you quite a bit. Now's the time to adapt. Make sure you are updating your digital platforms. I mentioned before, a lot of people didn't have digital platforms. They do now. Go into your Facebook, go into your Twitter, make sure your about section's up to date. Make sure your links all work. Make sure your website's up to date. Make sure you're mobile friendly. Again, kind of getting back to meeting the customers where they are. I mean, mobile is not some big secret, but it's just growing. It's even more people this holiday season are used to ordering stuff from an app. But even if you don't have an app, just make sure, when's the last time you looked at your website on a phone? Make sure it looks okay and that people can get where they need to go. Again, offering curbside, offering delivery, maybe having late hours, maybe offering in-store pickup. These are things that people had to do. You had to do before. Now your stores have opened up, but I would say continue to offer them because some people have gotten used to it. I know I have. I've loved some of the stores I did. I can just pull up to the curb, check in on my phone, and they load my trunk, and I'm off to go. Like I love that. I hope that doesn't go away for a lot of stores. I say email is your best friend. We can get caught up in the paid search and the social media and things like that, but don't forget that your email list, if curated correctly, are your current customers. And maybe some potential new ones, but those are generally people that wanted to be on your email list. So make sure that one, you're maintaining it and that it's accurate. And if those email addresses, make sure you clean it up if they're no longer active. I know a lot of people have changed jobs in this last period of time, so make sure it's accurate so you can get accurate numbers when you look at opens, reads, and clicks. And find any way to grow your list. So whatever marketing you're doing to get people to your website, make sure you have a spot on there to add their email and give them the option to be added to your list. It's going to help you. It's extremely valuable. And as much as I love all these other platforms, we still get a high amount of traffic to our website just from our emails to our regular members, customers, and email lists. And along those lines, experiment with your emails. Don't just do the same old. I would make sure that you experiment with different subject lines. We test everything at the Chamber. We test the color of a button that you click on. We test length with images, without images. And a lot of times we're surprised by the results. Just by making those small changes, you can see your open rates go up quite significantly. So if you're familiar with A/B testing, that's something that I would do. If you're not, just the next few emails you send out, make sure that you're maybe change something and see if it worked better, and keep that trend. Okay, and then just a few last thing here. Just a few more strategies we've seen. Obviously make sure you're innovating, but look for new partnerships. You've got an opportunity here. I mean, there are other businesses, maybe your business is struggling. There's other businesses struggling. Maybe you've thought about partnering in the past and they didn't want to do it. They might be more open to it now. Again, that depends on your industry, but you should be able to look for new ideas. Now is the time to take advantage of some of those new partnerships that will benefit both businesses. Watch your competition. You do your best. I mean, we're all kind of projecting what's going to happen this holiday season. But if it's not working, be ready to pivot. Watch what your competition is doing, but not even your competition. I mean, I would encourage you to search similar businesses in other states and see what they're doing. And if they're having success, give them a call, ask them what's working. You're not competing directly. If they have something that's working and yours didn't, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. This next bullet, this is something I've been hearing, and it makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Like, beware of the late shipping this holiday season. When everyone was first home, I know my Amazon Prime got delayed. Instead of getting it in 1 or 2 days, it was 5-6 days. Even now, it's not totally reliable. People are predicting that's going to happen again. So as they do their last minute shopping, I'm a last minute shopper, and a lot of people are, they're going to find that their stuff's not going to get there in time. So take advantage of that. Maybe have later hours in the days leading up to the holidays. And then the last thing I just put here, watch your tone. And I hit on this a little bit earlier. Your messaging and tone's a delicate balance between brand and discount. Don't rush to discount your product because you're also going to discount your brand. I'm not saying don't do it at all, but just when you're thinking about it, don't think of just, I got to slash prices because I have to make sales this holiday season. You still have to make sales after that. So, find the sweet spot. I encourage you to, track your numbers wisely and, just believe in your product. So that's all I had for you today. Again, I thank you so much for having me this morning, and I know we'll get to some questions later. My contact info is there, and I'll turn it back over to you, Katie.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rick. I have a marketing background, so maybe I'm just a little bit of a junkie for this, but I really found that incredibly fascinating, and even thinking of the things that we can tweak and adaptations that we can make as we aim to still stay relevant and stay helpful. So thank you so much for that, Rick. And now we will welcome Allison with One Hospitality.
Hello, everyone, and again, thanks for having me. Let me just switch over to my presentation here. Can everyone see? Okay. So again, my name is Allison Witherow. I am the Chief Marketing Officer of O&E Hospitality Group, as well as the co-owner of the Cantina York and Avianos, which are both in the Royal Square District. So what O&E is an umbrella corporation or umbrella business that is a hospitality group that shares resources across all of our different restaurants and food and beverage brands. So here's just a few of the things we do. Tony's Restaurant is our flagship restaurant. One South is our entertainment and event venue. We have the trolleys running around taking you to all of our different locations. The restaurants I mentioned, the King George Speakeasy, the Rigatoni food truck, which has made a lot of changes over this pandemic, and then Presto Fast Italian, which is our newest build your own fast casual concept. And we just added our next one in Delco Plaza. So if you haven't tried that out, you got to get there. But my job is to kind of market all of these things. And one of the things that we found is really been the key to our success so far during this pandemic is adaptation. So I always love this quote, there's only one way to survive and thrive when faced with circumstances out of our control and for which we are unprepared. Adapt. So I think they say the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over and expect different results. But of course, why would you continue to do the same thing when our climate is so different? So I encourage you in this time to pivot, let go of what your business was and focus on what your business is now and what it can be in this time. So a few questions to ask yourself. What are the needs of your customers in this current climate, and how have those needs changed from what they used to be? What pandemic restrictions stand in the way of you delivering your normal product in your normal way? And how can you pivot and get around that normal way to succeed? And maybe this is an opportunity for you to become a leader in your industry. Maybe you're going to do something first, or do it in a different way, or offer your product in a different way. So how can you innovate within your means? And that doesn't mean, oh, all of a sudden I need 30 grand to try some new initiative to get me out of this. No, that's what do you have in your wheelhouse right now that you can use to alter your offerings. And I'm going to touch on some of the same things that Rick touched on, so I'll try to kind of tie it into a local perspective and show you some of the things that we've done along the way. So we keep talking about a new normal, and what will our new normal be? I think that is a question that we'll let 2021 answer, but right now, looking at this holiday season, we just need to know what our normal was and what it is now to help us in our decision making. So previously in holiday seasons, there was obviously a lot of in-person spending. People were coming in store or into the restaurants to buy their gifts. Holiday shopping was a seasonal activity and a thing to do. So, you know, you might stop at Molly's Courtyard Cafe and get a nice little hot chocolate, and then walk down the streets to the Beaver Street shops and, you know, go in and out and see these friendly faces. Unfortunately, this holiday season is going to look a little different. So rather than in-person spending, we're moving to online spending. The majority of your customer face-to-face interaction will now be had on social media. Instead of holiday shopping as a thing to do, we're now looking at holiday shopping as more of a necessary evil, unfortunately. So it's, you know, you still got to give gifts, but you're going to do it in a new way. So there's a much higher level of fear about interacting person to person, let alone trying new things and new businesses. So I just want to run through a couple stats that were published recently as far as what people plan to do this holiday season. So 75% of shoppers who plan to shop this season said that they will shop online for the holidays more than previous seasons. So with these stats, I'm going to give you ways to pivot based on them, and then just examples of what we've done locally. So the pivot here is to go virtual. So get online and get there fast. How can you streamline your process to move online and get digital? So I recommend investigating your existing website companies, your POS programs, your social media platforms. All of those big companies have also had to pivot in this time. So they've all been beefing up their e-commerce options over these past few months. So if you don't have e-commerce as an option, and this could be, say you're a store owner and you want to sell your products online, or you're a restaurant and you want to sell your gift cards online. I know we have a mix of business owners here, but it's time to offer it online as quickly as possible. And you might say, oh, but I'm not tech savvy, I'm not great on the computer. Unfortunately, in 2020, that is just not good enough anymore. I'm sure you can all think back to March of this year when maybe you hadn't ever been in a Zoom meeting before, or maybe once or twice, and you were like talking when you're on mute, but you learned and you adapted and you're here now, so you can do it. Just an example of what we've done locally, March 14th, I believe it was, or March 15th when we got shut down, what we did as a company was we took all of our kitchen equipment and all of our food and all of our staff, and we put it in one building at our commissary kitchen at 350 Rockdale Avenue. And we overnight built a website platform to have offerings from all of our restaurants in one place. And then we were able to offer takeout and delivery from that online platform. And again, as we were changing our process, Square, which was the company we used for our e-commerce, was changing theirs. They were adding features by the day because they too recognized that people are moving all to the computer and trying to streamline their buying and in-person interaction as well. Another stat for you, 66% of shoppers said they plan to shop more at local businesses. So that's good for us here in York. Lots of great small businesses to choose from. But really the pivot here is to give them a why. So customers, especially this year, need to be told where to go and what to do because there's just so much going on, so much in the news. So this is really an opportunity for you to tell them why shop small. Why should they pick your business over your competitors, or what sets your product apart from what they can get from a big box store? Or maybe tug at the heartstrings a little bit. What would their support mean to you and your family and your business this year? Or what would your business do with this increased support to make it through this pandemic? So a large percentage of shoppers also are going to prefer to buy products from the brands they trust, and I'll touch on that a little later. So this is just an example of what we did for our Two Tony's Flower Shop scratch pasta. We have meal kits, kind of like HelloFresh. So this is a little like infographic that we put on our site to give them our 4 pillars of why buy from us. And that can be done in a variety of ways. This is an infographic. It can be done in a video and via social media, which I will touch on some more. 63% of shoppers said they are slightly or very much more likely to purchase from a retailer they know are following COVID-19 safety guidelines. So all opinions aside, and regardless of what you think, it's important to show your customers that you care about their health and safety. So the pivot here, if you haven't already, is to get safe and show your customers that you care about them. So again, it's about adjusting your process, minimizing touch points and in-person interactions within your business, minimize that prolonged exposure. You're going to want to make it quick and easy for the consumers. So consider offering that delivery, curbside pickup, shipping, any way that you can reach them where they're at. Here's a photo that we posted of one of our employees in a mask showing that we have a drive-through to just say, hey, we know it's scary out there right now, but we're doing everything we can to ensure your safety. More key findings from these surveys, customers will start shopping earlier this year, so October instead of November, which is just right around the corner. They will consolidate their trips, so you got to help them do that. They plan to spend the same amount of money as they did last year, which is good news for us because it means the money's out there, you just got to take it. So you did it. Let's just say you streamlined all of your processes and you got everything safe and you moved online. Well, that's all well and good, but it doesn't really matter if you don't tell people about it. So that's kind of where my job comes in our hospitality group, is communicating with customers. So the average customer does want to be engaged. So, as you're changing your processes, tell them what's new. Tell them what went into this process and why you changed it. and then tell them how they can be involved, how they can interact with your online platforms, and what steps you're taking to ensure that they can be involved in a safe way. Here's some behind the scenes photos that we've posted over the past few months. This one on the left was actually the day that the shutdown happened. We all met and had a giant think tank of what the heck we were going to do. And this was kind of a way to show, like, you know, there are faces behind what's happening here, and we're figuring it out. And then the one on the right was when we fed a whole fire company's worth of firemen for their training the one day, and what that looks like to serve a large group behind the scenes. So we'll see you on social media. So you're gonna, like Rick said, you're gonna wanna meet the customers where they are, which right now is at home and on social media and on their phones constantly. So it's a timely way to deliver information, offerings, and initiatives, and a great way to be personal because it's a personal platform. So 1,200%. Social video generates 1,200% more shares than text and image combined. So there are a gazillion statistics out there about why video is better. But the pivot here is to adjust your content, make it more engaging and shareable, and make it more video centric. So live videos on social media are a great way for customers to get to know you and the face behind the brand. And I always say that, especially live videos, don't have to be professional quality. They just have to be well lit, well framed, and good enough to get your message across, because that's really what it's about. These videos are great for sharing your behind the scenes process, a way to bring your customers along on your journey. You could do quick how-tos or give them, you know, a tour of your store or your business to help them streamline their visit. You'll have a much higher conversion rate this way. So I'm going to show you a little example of a video that we did, again, right in the middle of the shutdown. So let me, oops, let me go back here. Make it large for you. Okay, so this was one that we did in our commissary facility. So Tony here is showing Chef Dave as he's making the pasta. She goes through the process here, kind of shows, you know, our noodles are just flour and water. She goes over here, shows the noodles. She is in the office announcing that the rigatoni trucks will be going through our neighborhoods. And then she goes outside and shows that we have a brand new second rigatoni truck. So the reason I'm showing this to you is this is just an example of, you know, ways that you can, like I said, it's not a professional quality video. It's a live video that shows our key figure behind our brand. It touches on some new announcements, lets people in on our process. It touches on that why of why buy our pasta over others. And, you know, it lets people in on what you're up to, and they tend to appreciate that. So just a little bit about feed versus stories. So I know that that you probably are a little bit aware of what feeds versus stories are, but feed is what you scroll through when you're super bored, and you could do it for hours mindlessly. And stories are those little circles at the top where people, you can click through and see little snippets, little videos, a couple seconds each. Your feed is going to be definitely better for your evergreen information. So that's big announcements, new initiatives and offerings, what I call brand drivers. So those instances where you're really telling the why or really getting to the heart of what your business is. And it's also an opportunity for some paid placements like Rick was mentioning. So that's where you can really choose the demographic that you want to target and show them what you've got. Stories are much better in that in quick information and that they expire in 24 hours. So you're not going to want to post a big announcement that's going to be gone in 24 hours. There's less pressure here to be professional in your quality. This is great for day of updates, daily happenings, and a good way to stay in the forefront of customers' minds. Okay, and 5 to 7. So 5 to 7 impressions are required for people to remember a brand. So the pivot here is to get consistent. You may feel like a broken record, so you're really not. You won't reach every customer every time. So if you figure it takes 5 to 7 impressions for them to remember you, but they might only see about 1 in every 10 posts that you make. So you're going to have to say something 50 to 70 times for it to stick through to them. So everything you put out there, you want to have it look and sound like it came from you each and every time. And that kind of consistency is going to increase your revenue. So that's not just social media like I've been talking about, but that's every instance. So customer interactions through to your physical products and your packaging. It's always the right time, and now is especially a great time to develop a brand standards guide. So here's an example of what a brand standards guide looks like. This one here touches largely on the visual elements. So your brand standards guide is going to address what colors you use, what fonts you use, your logo, how you use your logo, what photos you put out there and when. And this is a great tool for you to take and use every time you make a decision, whether it's what you put out there on social media or when you're designing packaging or hiring a new employee. You can always refer back to this guide and say, am I being consistent? I always say Starbucks does a great job in their brand consistency. So from their website to their ordering app, to their storefront and signage, to their cups and their uniforms, it all looks consistent. And you can tell even every time you see that little green mermaid lady, you know it's going to be Starbucks. So reasons why people are loyal to a brand: cost, quality, experience, and consistency. So consumers want quality products that they can afford with a consistent experience every single time they interact with the brand, regardless of the way they're interacting with the brand. And that matters because, like we said in the statistics, people are going to buy from brands that they trust and are loyal to this season. So how to present your brand and products creatively, so you don't feel like you're saying the exact same thing all of those 50 to 70 times. Just a few quick ideas for the holidays. This is geared pretty much towards retail, but you could adjust it for whatever kind of business you have. Gift guides, you know, from 4 different recipients in your life, stocking stuffers, top picks, like so your top 5, or maybe you ask someone in the community to pick a top 5, last minute gifts that people can get quickly. 1 thing 5 ways. So if you're selling a scarf in your store, a way that you can wear it 5 ways. Education or inspiration behind your products, trendy, timely things. So if you can tie it to something that's in the news. 12 days of Christmas, you could do 12 days of candles, or cyber couch shopping, things that people can get virtually. So in conclusion, it's definitely the season for innovation. I know this is kind of a not great time for everyone, but I would encourage you to use this time to see your company in a new light. Explore opportunities, polish your brand, and adjust your online presence to fit this new decade. And remember, this too shall pass, but you'll come out on the other side a much better business. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you, Allison. Truly, both of you together have a phenomenal view of the times that we're in. And one of the things we always hear that the businesses, especially in downtown York, which are the ones where we always aim to engage in this business series, they're always looking for, okay, what can I take from this that I can do right now, that it can improve things, that can make things better, that can keep me more top of mind or help me to pivot. And you really gave some incredible things that they could take away today, implement today, and see a big difference almost immediately. So thank you for those really tangible things as well, because that's, and as I said, it's been incredible to see what your team has done and truly pivoted. And I remember my first sighting of the rigatoni truck, and it was incredibly exciting. So it's a true testament to how you've been able to adapt and really been the expert, especially in our community, on that. So we are going to bring Rick back on as well. And we do have a few questions here. This one can certainly be fielded by either of you or by both of you. So what are some products or services that holiday shoppers might be looking for this year that they weren't looking for in previous years? And a secondary question, what are some of the best practices for increasing maybe gift card sales, knowing that that might be something popular this year? Anybody has any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, Rick, you made an excellent point that I didn't even think of, is that people are doing so much more in their homes right now. So I would say focusing on those types of products, things that make people's home life easier or more aesthetically pleasing or more comfortable, because that's where our heads are at right now. And then to your second question, the gift card sales, that's something we've adapted over time, but especially lately. If you can make even just your gift cards available digitally and then just be able to mail them out, we've seen huge sales just from that. And that's an excellent option for somebody that's a little apprehensive about going out and being around other people, but they want to give someone something with a local touch that is going to go back into the local economy. I think that's an excellent way that they can, the business can just mail the gift cards to the customers and no interaction was had.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback on that, really based on what you said, Allison, about the number of impressions, which is totally true. I see a lot of people forget to promote their gift cards on social media. They forget to put a link. You should put a link to your gift cards, even if it's just a small one, on every page of your website if you can. That way, if somebody's looking at a product they're not sure, just letting them know they have that option.
That's an excellent point too. I'm thinking of the nonprofits that have like the donate button on every single page of their website. It's the first thing you see. So really, the business community, anything that says gift card purchase here, I can see that being extremely beneficial.
Yeah, I feel like small businesses need a donate button now, right now.
Yeah.
Can we just add that?
Yeah, I put them both up there. I mean, why not? So we have another question about either the benefit to altered hours for holiday shopping, whether they are extended or shortened, and if either of you have an opinion on if those are beneficial or something that businesses should be considering one way or another.
Yeah, I think I'd hit on that a little bit. I think I would encourage you to extend your hours again, just especially with those late shipping times that we're anticipating. I think again, just giving your customers, more options, more opportunity. Storefronts will be a very good thing this holiday season because you'll be able to, that'll be your competitive advantage against some of these online retailers that are going to run into it. I mean, we've all seen it in the news about the U.S. Postal Service and how viable they're going to be in the next few months. So use that to your advantage. Yeah, I would encourage you, if you can, and the finances make sense, to offer longer hours.
Great, thank you. So we kind of joked that the cooler weather, it kind of puts holiday shopping on the front of people's minds. So if businesses are thinking about their marketing campaigns around the holiday season, what is the optimal time to start pushing out that message, or to start kind of bringing that awareness to maybe something special that they're doing for the holidays, whether it's gift cards, extended hours, curbside pickup? What's the optimal time to start getting that message out to consumers?
Normally I would say like mid to late October, but that one statistic I shared said that people are starting earlier this year. So I don't want to say like tomorrow, but because I don't want to really hear it tomorrow. But I would say earlier. So maybe the end of September, because it doesn't hurt. Like we said, people are at home on their phones now. So they're going to spend their money somewhere, and you might as well tell them early where they can do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, we're hearing the same thing you had alluded to, that people are going to shop earlier. They're going to do fewer trips. So as much as we don't like the holiday season to creep, before Black Friday, it's going to, especially this year. So I think if you don't have a plan, you should have a plan now in September. Finalize your plan, and maybe in years past you've been hesitant, but yeah, you might want to start thinking about rolling that out in October, earlier October.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. And just a reminder to everyone who's tuned in, please continue to send any more questions in. We have another one that has come in, but as they wind down, if you have any, please do ask. So this question came in. Certainly Allison can touch on this, and Rick, if you have any thoughts too. Is there anything that the restaurant industry could be doing differently this year to prepare for holiday parties, especially in light of the COVID restrictions?
I know that we've already been moving a lot of our other parties outdoors. Obviously, now that it's getting colder, that isn't so much an option. So we've been getting creative with ways that we can work around the restrictions. Like I said, pivot, see how you can work around it. So the current mandate is 25 people indoors. So we've thought of even doing things like encouraging our customers to stagger attendees. So maybe you have your first 25 and then your second 25, and maybe they can overlap somehow, get creative in that way. Of course, it doesn't really help us to encourage people to go digital, though that's certainly an option. Or we've also been organizing outdoor events under tents with heaters. So it's, again, just coming up with new ways to work around those restrictions. But it's definitely a challenging time, to be sure.
Mm-hmm. And kind of with that too, if there are any small businesses that have not yet done curbside pickup, whether it's a restaurant or even a retail where you can buy everything online and pull up outside, do you have any suggestions that you could share, or any tips or tricks on how they can start that as maybe a new initiative for the holiday season?
I'll defer to you on that. I don't think I have any great tips on starting curbside pickup.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, a lot of like Square and POS companies, especially for restaurants, have added that functionality over the last few months because they've seen the writing on the wall too. So luckily, some of that groundwork is done for you. As far as locally, what we and some other businesses have done is number curbside spots. So if you're calling ahead or ordering ahead, you enter your parking spot number, and then the employees know they can just run it right out to your car. But it's a lot of trial and error. I mean, we when we moved everything to our commissary kitchen and started doing curbside pickup and delivery, I mean, we adjusted on the daily for what worked best for us. So it's not going to be the same for every business, unfortunately. So I would just say, be like water. So you can shift and move to the needs of what you're finding your specific customers have.
Great. And one final question for you, Rick. Of all the different digital things that anybody could tap into, and we know that there might be some individuals or some small businesses that haven't yet done many of those things. So if they're looking for one piece of digital information that they should really focus on, what would you suggest is the avenue they pursue?
Oh boy. Just one, huh?
Just one.
I mean, I'm not going to punt the question. The true answer is it depends on your business. Because a small retailer, Facebook is going to be your go-to. I could argue that email is what size your business is. That's your key. Those are your dedicated customers or potential customers. And again, I actually work with a lot of members where I try to get them off certain digital platforms if it doesn't make sense. Don't be on Instagram if your business isn't visual. Don't waste your time. So I guess that's the tip I'll give is look at your business, look what really makes sense. And again, getting back to meeting your customers where they are. If I had to pick one in general, if you haven't tried something yet, try Facebook. I think it's easier. And like I said, it's the lowest cost. So if you just want to dip your toes in and try something, it's less targeted, but it's a good starting point.
Great, thank you. And a follow-up question to Allison, you mentioned about using Square, and this retail division is researching upgrading their POS platform. And if you had to choose, would you prioritize integrating a POS with your e-commerce platform or a POS with your accounting software? They haven't been able to find a system that does both.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that most POS softwares, at the very least, can export into an Excel spreadsheet or the like, and then most accounting software can import that. So I would say it's more important, again, meeting the customer where they're at with their current needs to get it in front of their faces in whatever is the most simple and streamlined way that you can. And if that means that you have to do that little bit of legwork on the back end, I'm sure there will be plenty of time in January to import all of that data. But the important part right now for the holidays is making those sales.
Excellent, thank you. So I think that concludes all of our questions for today. So a big, huge thank you to Allison, to Rick for being here today, for giving your guidance, your expertise, and truly giving some tactical things on both the digital side, the in-person side. It truly is I think that the combination of all of those things are what are going to help our small business communities right now. So thank you both for being so open, so forward thinking, and so willing to share your expertise today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
So a reminder to everyone to please continue to check out downtownnewyorkpa.com for future business series. And again, if you do have any topics you'd like to hear more from, please let us know. You can drop anyone an email, info@downtownnewyorkpa.com. Team is always here as well. So no idea is too big or too small. We will do the best we can to find some speakers that are as wonderful as Allison and Rick to help fulfill any questions that you have. And also on the website on downtownnewyorkpa.com, we have a For Merchants e-newsletter that you can subscribe to. And you'll just click subscribe to the merchant newsletter. And that's where we really try to send out some tips like this, any articles that we find, any announcements that are relevant to especially the merchant community of downtown New York. So with that, we also have First Friday October coming up. In my mind, I keep thinking it's already October, but it is not. So First Friday October will be Friday, October 2nd. And if you do have any activities, events, any specials, anything like that, just drop us an email, info@downtownnewyorkpa.com. Hopefully by Monday, September 28th, and then we're able to include those in all of our future promotions for First Friday. And again, our team is here for anything that you need. If you have any questions, if you have any follow-up questions from today, we'll do the best we can to get you some answers on those. We wish everyone well, and we will see you again in October. Thank you.